Due to the constantly changing nature of government regulations, it is impossible to guarantee absolute accuracy of the material contained herein. Compliance Consortium Corporation, therefore, cannot assume any responsibility for omission, errors, misprinting, or ambiguity contained within the following training material, and shall not be held liable in any degree for any loss or injury caused by such omission, error, misprinting, or ambiguity presented in this training material. This training production is designed to provide reasonably accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is published with the understanding Compliance Consortium Corporation is not engaged in rendering legal, accounting, or other professional service. If legal advice or other expert assistance is required, the services of a competent professional person should be sought. Compliance Consortium Corporation proudly presents the Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration Drug Abuse and Alcohol Misuse Supervisory Training. This video is indexed, so you may fast forward or rewind to the subject you wish to review. As you scan the video, notice the colored dots in the upper left corner. The rules. The drug test. What's a COC? Drug and alcohol testing situations. Beverage alcohol. The alcohol test. Signs and symptoms of abuse. Behavioral indicators. General indicators of drug abuse. Indicators of alcohol misuse. Intervention. The substances. Drug and alcohol abuse have serious impact on workers' safety as well as the safety of the public. That is why in 1988, Department of Transportation implemented a training program for drugs, and in 1995, a training program for alcohol. Department of Transportation regulations mandate that training must be a minimum of 60 minutes for drugs and 60 minutes for alcohol. Both are combined for a total of 2 hours training. It is not designed to be all-inclusive, but to be used as an awareness tool. The purpose of this training video is to help supervisors become familiar with Department of Transportation requirements and help supervisors determine how drugs and alcohol abuse affects employees. The rules. Why should this information be presented to supervisors? Supervisors are the most appropriate choice due to the day-to-day contact with employees. You should be able to determine signs of use, better able to judge normal behavior and appearance, and better able to intervene effectively. You have the best opportunity to educate and provide awareness of drug and alcohol abuse. You are able to provide guidelines for determining reasonable cause and post-accident judgments to the employees. Supervisors must be familiar with Department of Transportation regulations, awareness of drug abuse and alcohol misuse, testing requirements, guidelines. Awareness. As a supervisor, you should understand you are the eyes and ears of the company. You hear and see more than the middle of the upper-level management. However, not to worry. You are not a spy or out to get anyone by just knowing what is going on inside the company. You must understand company policies and procedures, not just the drug policy, but all. In other words, vacation, sick leave. Employees are most likely to come to you if they have questions about the policies. You as a supervisor should have knowledge of drugs and drug paraphernalia and the physical signs from various methods of the administration. Knowledge of how and when to intervene and how to do it correctly. Knowledge on how to document. Why is this your responsibility? For one, you as a supervisor are an agent for the employer. And two, as a supervisor, you are responsible for achieving and maintaining a safe work environment, directing and evaluating employees' performance, whether it is day-to-day, annual, or semi-annual, promptly intervening when safety and productivity become unsatisfactory, attending a minimum of 1-hour drug training and 1-hour alcohol training programs. Department of Transportation requirements for drug policies. Reasons you must give as to why the policy is in place. Mandated. Employee health. Employee safety. Prevention of public hazard safety of the traveling public. Company reputation. Protection of assets. State and/or federal requirements. Contractual obligations. List in policy the rights and responsibilities of the company. The elements of a good drug abuse policy. Employees' rights and responsibilities. In detail, list the activities prohibited by the company. In other words, the sale and use of drugs. Penalties for violating drug policy. In other words, immediate termination. How policy will be enforced, and what division will be responsible for safety, risk management, and the personnel department. Situations which may require testing. Department of Transportation category says some situations must test. Employees' rights and responsibilities. Department of Transportation regulates those in safety-sensitive programs, but employees do have rights, such as to appeal the testing procedure. They have the responsibility to make themselves available for testing. The DOT mandated 5-panel drug test. Amphetamines. Included are methamphetamine, cocaine, crack cocaine, marijuana, opiates, poppy seeds. May show positive in certain cases. However, with current cutoff levels, they should not show up. Codeine and morphine, heroin, phencyclidine, PCP, Employers can test for a broader range of drugs under their own company policy, but not under Department of Transportation guidelines. Employers are allowed to test more, less, or change cutoff limits under their own company policy. How the drug test works. The chain of custody, or COC form, is a standard form by the federal government. The only thing on the form that can change is the laboratory's logo and address. The only way to identify the employee on the COC is by the Social Security number. Drug testing procedures. Donor reports to collection site. The COC has a barcode and number on it. 2 more barcodes at the bottom of the form and a number identical to the specimen ID number on top of the form. The collector opens the shrink-wrapped, pre-sealed collection kit in the presence of the employee. Inside the kit are 2 bottles, 2 caps, and a transport bag. The employee must be able to fill the bottles with a minimum of 45 millimeters. If unable, the complete specimen must be thrown away. The collection site can hold an employee for up to 3 hours and allow the employee to drink 40 ounces of water to assist in voiding. The employee should be allowed to void in private, but may not flush the toilet until the collection process is completed. The temperature strip on the side of the collection bottle is to ensure correct specimen temperature. It has been known for an employee to try to cheat the test by using another person's urine or diluting the specimen with water. So, the strip is to ensure the specimen is within normal body range, 90 degrees to 100 degrees. Pouring 30 milliliters into the primary bottle and 15 milliliters into the secondary bottle splits the specimen. Both bottles are capped. The seal is placed over the top of the specimen bottle and down the sides. It is very important that the seal is placed across the lid and not around the bottle, making them tamper evident. The seals from the COC form have the employee's initials, date of collection, and collector's initials. The barcode identifies the specimen and matches the COC form. Federal Drug Testing Custody and Control Form Part 5 is placed in the side pouch of the transport bag. Both samples are placed in the transport bag and sealed. Drug Test Review. Question 1. Under DOT regulations, how many substances are tested? Answer: 5. Question 2. What are these substances? Answer: amphetamines, cocaine, marijuana, opiates, and phencyclidine. Question 3. How long of a time period does a donor have to provide a urine sample? Answer: 3 hours. Question 4. What is the normal temperature of a urine specimen? Answer: 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A chain of custody form, COC, accompanies each and every drug test sent into the laboratory to be analyzed. Parts of this form follow the sample through the entire testing process. Strict guidelines must be followed to ensure the chain of custody is not broken, thereby voiding the test sample. Copy 1 is the laboratory's copy. The testing laboratory copy accompanies the specimen to the testing laboratory. Notice to the employee's name is not on copy 1. The testing laboratory is not allowed to know the identity of the donor. Only the employee's Social Security number is allowed. Copy 2 is the medical review officer's copy. This is the medical review officer's, MRO, copy, and this copy does not go to the lab. The MRO copy must be sent to the MRO. Copy 3 is the collector's copy. Copy 4 is the employer's copy. Copy 5 is the donor's copy. Once the specimens reach the testing laboratory, a small portion, aliquot, is removed from the original container and screened by EMIT procedure. The screening procedure is 90 to 95% accurate. If the results are negative, they are reported to the MRO. If positive, another portion is removed from the original specimen and confirmed by GCMS. Confirmation is 99.99% accurate at this stage. The specimen is tested for a specific drug category, then for a specific drug. The results are reviewed to assure accuracy, then reported to the medical review officer, or MRO, which is required by federal mandate. The medical review officer. The purpose of the MRO is to decide if a positive result is for a legal or an illegal drug. If you are taking prescription medicine that is not prescribed to you, in other words, spouse's medication, it is considered illegal. The MRO contacts or attempts to contact the individual to confirm or overturn the positive result. The MRO may call the company looking for the individual. The company should have the individual call the MRO because the MRO is an employee advocate and makes the final decision. So, the employee should talk to the MRO. The final results are then reported to the company representative. A test could show a positive result on the screen portion, then be confirmed out as negative. The MRO, and only the MRO, can make a final decision on any drug test results. COC Review. Question 1. What does COC stand for? Answer. Chain of custody. Question 2. How many copies are there in a COC form? Answer. 5. Question 3. Name the copies. Answer. Copy 1. Laboratory. Copy 2. Medical Review Officer. Copy 3. Collector. Copy 4. Employer. And copy 5. Donor. Question 4. How accurate is the screening test? Answer. 90 to 95%. Question 5. How accurate is the GCMS confirmation test? Answer. 99.99%. Question 6. Who makes the final decision on a drug test? Answer: Medical Review Officer, or the MRO. Drug and alcohol testing situations. Pre-employment. Post-accident. Reasonable cause. Random. Return to duty. Follow-up. No other testing situations are recognized by the Department of Transportation. Pre-employment. Pre-employment testing occurs anytime a regulated employee is promoted or transferred from a non-safety sensitive position to a safety sensitive function. According to DOT, the employer must have the negative result before the employee can be put into a CDL position. Alcohol testing for pre-employment is a company policy, not a DOT requirement. If an employee has not been in a random testing pool for the previous 30 calendar days, then he or she must receive a pre-employment drug test. Post-accident. Should be performed as soon as possible, within 2 hours if possible, but no later than 8 hours for alcohol and 32 hours for drugs. An accident is defined as an incident involving a human fatality or bodily injury to anyone involved in the incident requiring treatment away from the scene with a moving violation citation, or disabling damage to any vehicle in the incident with a moving violation citation. Disabling damage means that a vehicle must be towed or cannot be driven from the scene of the accident. Tests for both drug and alcohol must be conducted.